Welcome back, everyone. In today's video, we're going to be doing some scenery work. More specifically, we're going to be working on an area that has the lighthouse. Now, if you remember, I built a lighthouse maybe a couple years ago now, where I took an old flashlight and turned it upside down, cut some holes for windows, put a top on it. Well, in today's video, we're going to place that where it's going to go, and we're going to put scenery all around it. All right, we have a lot to do, like always, so let's get to it. I've started building some stone stairs for the scene. Now, the sides don't matter because they completely get covered with rock. Now, a quick show you how I made these. As you can see, it's just made up of these little pieces that are glued together. I cut all the pieces on my Proxxon cutter. Okay, so this is the area that we're working in. Let me move this. Okay, now we're going to fill the rest of this in with plaster so that it looks like rocks and that it looks all natural. We need to move some of this so that nothing gets damaged. So again, we're going to be using rocks off of my last layout. We'll just break these into pieces and cut them. And then we'll just slowly start to put them in place. I'll use liquid nails to attach them, and then I'll fill in all of the gaps and cracks with plaster. And we've got some tin foil laid down to protect our pier. Okay, well, the rocks are all in, and as you can see, I filled in all of the gaps. Now we have to let this sit overnight, and then we can paint it. And then, of course, we'll start to add vegetation to it. Okay, it's the next morning. Everything is dry. Now we're going to start to paint. And I'm using desert sand, burnt sienna, bittersweet chocolate, any dark brown would work, and black. I've got a cup of water. First, I'm using the desert sand. I'm just going over the stairs quick. Now I'm mixing the desert sand with the burnt sienna. So I'll take some of the bittersweet chocolate and put it up towards the top. Well, let me get this painted here first. Okay, so take your dark brown, put it towards the top, then get your brush wet and it just bleeds. It takes that dark brown and lets it bleed into all the cracks. We'll save the black for last. After we get everything painted, we'll thin down our black and just dab it towards the top and let it run down into some of the deep cracks. Now you can definitely use more colors if you want, or there's a color called iced coffee that you could use maybe instead of the desert sand. It's really up to you. You could incorporate some grays into this. So you can see the burnt sienna looks really strong. But we'll come back with some of the bittersweet chocolate and let it run in those cracks. So let that dry for a little bit and just move on to another section. Okay, we're going to let this dry for a little bit, and then you'll notice there's some areas where there's a little bit of red or almost a pinkish color, and we'll take a black wash and that's where we'll concentrate, right on those reddish areas. And then after that dries, we'll come back in and do some dry brushing. Okay, I just finished doing a little bit of dry brushing. Next, we're going to want to add some green like we did over in this section. Now we still have some details. We have to put a couple steps coming down from the front there, a couple steps in the back. I'm considering some wrought iron railings, especially around the curve here. Okay, let's go ahead and get our lighthouse. Put in. Now I still need to add a door at the bottom. I'm going to take my Dremel tool and cut a little opening and put a door right there. Okay, we have our structure back here. I just put some details back in front of it. Soon we need to ballast all this track on this curve. Then we can put in our crossings and start to scenic this area in here. All right, well, as you can see, scenery work goes pretty quick. That was a 2-day project. When we worked on the area up here, that was 2 days. I believe this section up front here, I combined with another section over there, and that took 2 days. So it actually won't take that long to get all of this white styrofoam covered with scenery. Real quick, if any of you are wondering, this layout is 13 feet this way, and I believe it's 15 feet this way. So it's, I guess, a medium-sized layout. Now you'll notice that I am constantly working on different areas of the layout. I mean, just a couple weeks ago, we were back in this corner working on this waterfront section. And there's a couple reasons why I do that. As modelers, we progress over time. So I didn't want to start in one section, work in order, going all the way around, and then eventually getting over to here and looking at my original section, thinking that it doesn't look quite as good as the last section. So I constantly keep moving around so that it all has the same quality of work. The second reason is when I'm in an area working, I start to get a little bored and I start to slow down on it. So by working on different areas, I feel like for me, I'm constantly working at the same speed. I'm constantly getting work done rather than slowing down and sort of waiting to get re-inspired in the same area. So that's a couple reasons why I'm constantly working on different areas. And it works for me. It might not work for other people. All right, well, that's all we have time for today. Thank you all so much for watching. And a huge, huge thank you to all of my Patreon members. Now, they have seen behind the scene photos of the area that I just showed you. As I was working on it, I post every day showing what I'm working on. So you'll get to see behind the scene photos of each section that I'm working on if you are a paid Patreon member. And I can put the address on the screen here for you. All right, please take a moment and subscribe to the channel. I would really, really appreciate that. I'd like to grow the channel a little bit, at least try to get to 50,000 subscribers. I think right now I'm at 41,000, possibly 42. I'd have to check. Sorry. But yeah, it would mean so much to me if you could help me get to 50,000 subscribers. All right. Well, thank you again so much. I appreciate your support. I appreciate you watching all of my videos. So until next time, stay motivated and happy modeling, everyone.